Good afternoon or good day, no matter where you may be around the country, depending on your time zone. And welcome to the Power of Mobile Advertising by ATS Mobile, today on May 22nd, 2014. My name is Brad Bierman. I'm a Senior Mobile Marketing Executive here at ATS Mobile, and I will be joined in the presentation today by our Development and Designer, Michael Candelori.
Hey, everybody.
So again, thank you for attending today. And we'll begin with our slides, and we'll go through that and be able to send you a copy of the presentation at the end, and also have our contact information to be able to answer any questions you may have. We're ATS Mobile. We were founded in 1989 as Advanced Telecom Services. We're located in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, in the Philadelphia suburbs. We also have offices, around the world, in London and the Czech Republic. As I mentioned, we were founded in 1989 as Advanced Telecom Services. We morphed into ATS Mobile about 3 years ago. We made our forte into mobile marketing in the early 2000s with monster tones, which were ringtones. You may remember the days in which people actually paid for ringtones on their cell phone back in the early 2000s. And our sister company, Advanced Mobile Solutions, specializes in the automobile industry, car dealerships, and mobile. And that company in the fourth quarter of 2013 was acquired by Auto by Tel. To give you a little bit background on Advanced Telecom Services, now ATS Mobile. These bullet points here list some of the strategies we've worked with our clients in 2014. Text message marketing platform, which we have and have utilized for both text broadcast and interactive text programs. We offer customized mobile consumer engagement solutions with producing microsites for mobile devices, tablets, and cell phones, responsively and adaptively designed websites. We work with our clients in providing turnkey mobile promotion, execution, and management, develop native apps for our clients, and then work in specialized mobile ad targeting, consultation, and placement and activation of ads within mobile ad networks, and also work with social media ad targeting, consulting, placement, and activation for our clients. We like to show this graphic because, as you see at the coronation of the Pope back in 2005, and then compared to 2013, the big difference, obviously, when everybody is holding up their own mobile device. We kind of like to say that your cell phone number is your mobile digital DNA, because we've probably had your cell phone number for a number of years up to this point, and it's probably the only phone number we'll have for the rest of our lives. So we like to refer to that as a mobile DNA, as a great way to reach directly to a consumer. As evidenced here by this slide, most social networks are now mobile first in terms of engagement with consumers. Social networks such as Facebook have been forced to refocus their efforts to have mobile as a #1 priority, and the new platforms that have come along, such as Vine and Snapchat, were built in this mobile space from the ground up to add, supplement, and support mobile social networks. We like to show the opportunity with mobile advertising based on this slide, showing consumption versus advertising spend. As you start on the left here, you see the more mature media, such as television, kind of makes sense with the consumption by consumers, along with the ad spend over the last 12 months. And as we circle mobile here, we can see that the opportunity of only 4% of ad budgets have been spent on mobile advertising makes it a truly amazing opportunity in 2014 and beyond. We're going to focus in a little bit more now on the power of targeting advertising on mobile devices with a couple of these bullet points here. Mobile advertising on websites and apps allows for precision targeting as never seen before. And the main focus points of the building blocks of those campaigns are geofencing, as we can avoid wasted reach, no more wasted spend, and advertise to users within a certain geographic area that can be defined by zip code, radius, or unique polygon. Demo targeting, only reach the users who meet a certain specific target profile of interest, behavior, education level, group association, and a couple of other different categories. Day parting and geo-targeting. You can spend advertising dollars whenever and wherever it makes the most sense, i.e. if you were targeting the healthcare industry and looking to recruit nurses, you could target nurses that might be working a night shift at a local critical care facility and place that ad in front of them at the time that might most be opportune to reach them. With advertising running on different devices, we like to show this as a base for some of the differences between ads that run on mobile websites and then run in apps. On mobile websites, an ad will run on a web page just like it is online, and it is restricted to a mobile device. The platform can be targetable or agnostic. There are some rich media options, not as much as within apps, and some ad sizes can run on feature phones, but mostly we're talking about smartphones and tablets here. In apps, it does run only within apps that are downloaded to smartphones. Again, it's platform targetable or agnostic. There are several more rich media options that are available with in-app advertising. And in-app, of course, will only run on smartphones and tablets, not on feature phones. This graphic gives an example of the different sizes of inventory that are available on screen sizes. And I'll turn this over to Mike, our developer.
Yeah, so we're going to walk through a couple of the different types of advertising you can do here, and kind of there are a lot of different ad units in this realm, and so let's just kind of walk through a few of them. The first will be banners, right? Banners are the most prevalent. There's the greatest amount of inventory available for these, and we're talking about everything from a full screen interstitial banner on a tablet down to those little 320 by 50 banners that you often see at the bottom or top of the screen on a game or on a news app. A lot of these sizes were ported over from web advertising into in-app advertising, and every platform has its own unique needs, and so you really have to take one idea of creative and move it across many, many different platforms. Standard banners are the cheapest to buy, and if you're talking about reach and trying to do a brand awareness, banners are really where you're going to spend a lot of your money and your focus. But it's important because consumers are so used to these ads now, we can kind of in our brain tune out those spaces where we know an ad is going to be, right? In the same way that we would view the television when commercials are on. We have found ways with creative to optimize these banners so as to try to ensure the greatest attention is drawn to them and you get the greatest conversion and click-through out of these. You want to, no matter what the promotion specifically you're doing, you want to use every impression to reinforce your brand, as you see here with City Trends Holidays, right? They're promoting a contest. It's pretty clear from that banner what you're going to do. You're going to win big daily if you go, right? That's sort of very simplistic, direct, and visual messaging is what draws people into the types of promotional microsites that we then are able to measure them and engage them and activate them. You see a few more ads there. One is for a Volkswagen dealership in New Jersey, the other for a recruiting agency here in Pennsylvania. Another thing you can do on web or in-app is do video in the banner, right? So no one really wants to be distracted necessarily from the experience they have, and they're going to be more likely if they can watch your promotional material right there in the space they're already experiencing their regular content. They're going to be a lot more inclined to watch that. And when we're talking about these videos, you may cut a 30 or 60-second spot if you're going to television. In web, in app, in the mobile ad space, we're probably talking about 5, 10, 15 seconds. And then if you can get engagement and get activation there, you can then tell the rest of that story. You can weave the rest of that narrative about your brand once you brought those people over into your own space and not the advertising space. Full screen interstitial video, we've all seen this. Excuse me. You may have seen this on Pandora or other apps in which you're streaming content. Occasionally those apps may be free, but occasionally they're going to want to advertise to you. And this is probably the closest to what we see in television advertising in terms of interrupting a flow that the consumer's experiencing. So this is something that you can do at virtually every level because geo-targeting allows you to get a very specific audience in mind. These are all very affordable options. You might not think that when you see the kinds of brands that usually are advertising in these types of interstitial videos, etc. But it's incredibly affordable even at a smaller scale. This is a very exciting one, expandable rich media, right? And so again, it's about staying somewhat within the space, right? If they're in an app, they don't want to leave the app. But what these banners can do is actually extend to full screen in that app context. And you can see here, again, as Brad had mentioned before, we have worked with some healthcare recruiters. Here you could map all the jobs that are available in a Google map, allow people to look at all that information, and then if they're not interested, if they move on, they can close that experience. But they're living right within your content and yet within the greater space of where they came from originally. Of course, all these things we intend to then lead to a mobilized landing page. That's where we do our lead tracking, right? You can get a tremendous amount of information about somebody just from their visiting your page. You can get demographic information, geographic and location information that helps us to further spend and optimize the investment that you're making in the areas that are doing the most good. And then these lead capture pages are really where you begin the conversation, right? You don't want to ask somebody to give you their life story on these pages because they won't on a mobile device. What they're going to do is simply give you a name, email. We have customers that have text message broadcast solutions, and they're simply asking for a phone number. That's all they want to know at first. And then that channel that they get with you, their unique channel of their text message broadcast system, or if you can get someone to download your app and then you have push notifications to work with, having your own channel to advertise on is incredibly powerful. And so this is how you begin that activation process. And then if you're doing some sort of lead generation, as an example here in recruiting, you can get an instant back-end access, right? You can see in real time who are the people who are filling out this form. And also, we have other platforms in terms of showing you where are people activating, when, on what devices are they activating. And this information all helps you to refine your message and refine the audience that you're looking for. So, a lot of what we're doing in the mobile ad space is in that in-app and web-based things. That's where a lot of the inventory is. But the really exciting place right now is in social mobile advertising, where we like to say that we target people and not places. So what you're doing in social mobile isn't saying, I'm going to go geofence my competitor's store and try to get their customers to come over to me. This is more about, I know that working class moms with children under 6 are my specific target demo. I'm going to go find those consumers and put my message in front of them. And so social is an incredibly efficient place to do your spending, and it's certainly an important part, though it's still a part of the overall picture of what you're going to do in a digital mobile media buy. So we're going to look now at a couple of those options. Facebook is probably the most powerful right now. In Facebook, we use what's called lookalike modeling, which basically says, here, like I had mentioned before, here is a description, here's a use case for our product, here's who is using our product. I want to find more people like this. And so you can see that. And what we're also talking about in the Facebook space, people are familiar with the right-hand ads you may see on Facebook desktop. In mobile, those ads don't exist, and even on desktop, they're not very effective. The space you want to be in is actually native Facebook advertising. It's called newsfeed advertising, right? And so your message, your sponsored post, is appearing in a user's newsfeed just as their friends post would, and that's even if they don't like your page, right? This is not just posting things on your page in order to get that sort of distribution. This is putting your message in front of new people who then have the opportunity to like your page. And a little secret about Facebook that you may not know is that you may think that you have 100,000 or 500,000 people who are liking you and following you on Facebook, but unless you're doing some piece of paid Facebook sponsored posts, like you're seeing here, unless you're doing that, you're not going to reach most of the people who like your page because it's all about engagement, right? Facebook wants you to like and comment and share things. If you're just broadcasting a message out like a billboard and nobody's looking at it, then Facebook is not inclined to keep putting your message in front of people. Facebook really values its news feed. It considers its news feed to be the holy grail of its entire system, and it doesn't want it polluted with lots of advertising. So it really, it's a very specific target that you have to hit with Facebook in order to balance not saturating an audience and still getting your message in front of as many people as possible. LinkedIn is another space that you can advertise in. Again, we have worked with recruiters. LinkedIn is great in that zone, right? You're trying to fill a job opening or 5 or 10 job openings. You're trying to fill job openings across a wide geographic area, but under one brand. LinkedIn will allow you to do those sorts of things. And LinkedIn in the professional space is truly it's the Facebook, right, of professional engagement, professional interaction. And so, for specific use cases, you would definitely want to be in the LinkedIn space. And LinkedIn has similar targeting. Let me go back quickly and show you. Oh, I took the graphic off of there, but both Facebook and LinkedIn use similar targeting, which is, I want to be in this location, and I want people who are like this. And so this is the equivalent of Facebook's lookalike targeting for LinkedIn that you see here. I want to find people in the greater Philadelphia area who are in the health, wellness and fitness, hospital and healthcare, medical practice industry. And again, these exist for every vertical, every industry you can imagine. And then you can target people who are members of a certain group. So if someone's in the nursing jobs group, they're probably looking for a job as a nurse. They're probably exactly who you want if that's who you're looking for. And so, this, again, is very highly targeted. It's actually sometimes difficult to spend your money here because you think rather than pouring money into the other places where you're simply getting impressions and brand engagement, here you're having very passive and presentational native experience with the people that you're reaching. And so, you want to only have this type of engagement once or twice with them and then reinforce in the other channels the messaging that you found.
Well, this graphic we like to show is the complex nature of the mobile advertising ecosystem today, in which there are ad exchanges, ad networks, companies that help match inventory with advertising, content with inventory. And so we show this to kind of show the nature of going through, weaving through this whole ecosystem, and the process can become confusing. And that's where a company such as ATS Mobile tries to sift through all the different exchanges and networks and go into the right course and right direction in making sure the goals are met by a company, its advertising budget, etc. And that kind of leads to what we say is, let us stick out a little bit here through all this maze of confusion, but come back to you with these questions. It's very important as you consider a mobile advertising campaign to first define your company goals. These common questions here that make a lot of sense. The type of reach you're looking for, both geographically and by industry, and how can you maximize each brand impression that is going to go out there into an ad network. Then defining exactly who the audience is. Geographically, where do you want to focus? And what are the strong non-digital channels to match up and meet the expectations of putting your message in front of that right audience. So again, who are you exactly trying to reach? And then, of course, from a budget standpoint, defining the investment and the marketing budget and ad dollars that you want to spend. How long should a campaign last in terms of time length? What other channels can be targeted into a digital network? And then can you start shifting your advertising budget into mobile? These are all very important questions to define with a marketing department and people that are making the decisions with the dollars. And we show the example here of City Trends, in which we took these three questions to them, and they came back with their answers, so it made it much easier for us to define a mobile ad campaign for them, as you see an example on the left, that included a social media component both in Facebook and in Twitter.
If I can mention quickly, Brad, in terms of the, what other channels can you target? You already probably see yourself in your own personal experience certain brands doing this kind of what they call omni-channel marketing, right? Where they're really reaching you on digital and traditional ad channels alike. One example of that that's kind of been a lot of buzz lately is this idea of a second screen, right? So you're sitting at your television and you're on your iPad, and so it's great to reach someone on either of those channels, right? If you can get your brand message in front of them, they're going to get an impression from either space. But if you can actually reinforce that and actually have a TV ad air, and then 20 minutes later you're able to actually target the same person that saw that ad and appear on their tablet or appear on their smartphone. That's one of the really exciting concepts that previously was probably reserved for only the biggest budgets and only the biggest ad spends. But really, the nature of innovation in this space means that all these things are becoming democratized, right? These things that 1 year ago seemed like a pie-in-the-sky idea, we can bring these in incredibly reasonable budgets and really do so much because we're able to, again, when you are able to capture data about who it is that's responding to your message, then you can advertise to just those people. That's what this allows you to do. And so you're really not wasting spend any longer um, on people that aren't going to be receptive to your message, no matter how well that message is told. Um, yeah, and Brad has mentioned our client City Trends, which is if you're not aware of the brand, it's a retail chain primarily in the South, Midwest, and a few Western locations. As I mentioned before, City Trends was simply trying to build its text message database, right? It knows that it can, in broadcast text messages, as well as in their app, using push notifications, they can reach their customers and they can keep them coming to the store. But it's a matter of bringing that brand awareness in front of people who aren't already aware of it, right? You don't want to just necessarily preach to the choir. You want to be able to go and reach new people that aren't aware of who you are and tell them who you are. And that's all part of that brand narrative. And so all these things that we're talking about in this presentation, we've tried to apply with all of our clients, because you have to go out and try and see what will work and what will convert the best for your brand. And you have to not be afraid to kind of take that plunge a little bit and do that, because this space right now is incredibly innovative. It's very fast moving. But if you want your ad dollars to be spent efficiently, this is where you're going to do it. But if this space is so new that you can get in truly at what I'm sure we will regard 3 or 4 years from now as being dirt cheap levels, right? This is like buying California real estate in the 1840s, right? And so and I can't overstate that enough, truly. And so, beyond the very exciting aspects that you have and all the innovation that you can do here and showing your brand as being progressive, it's also hilariously cheap.
Yep. Thank you, Mike. This is kind of putting the end to our presentation here. We like to keep them right around 20 minutes to get everyone back to their to what they were doing. But we'll be happy to forward a copy to anyone. We have email addresses of those that have attended the session today, and we'll be happy to forward you a copy of that. And our email addresses are listed here and phone numbers. So any follow-up questions, we'll be more than happy to answer for you and provide more information as we can. We'd like to thank you very much for attending our session today. And again, there's our contact information. Have a great day. Again, thank you very much.